Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Small Talk with Shibby, my LCS post-game interview series. I'm here joined by the victorious NRG Contractz. And Contractz, I'm going to get into it. 7 games, you've played 6 unique champions. You've gone back to Gumby, Ivern, the green man himself. What's the obsession with the champion? Because I think you're the only dude right now that's picking him, I think, across all the regions at the moment. At least major ones.
There's been a few Ivern bans here and there. I think Canyon also played 2 games of him yesterday, but I was playing Ivern last week. So, yeah, I think I'm definitely like one of the first to play Ivern. I mean, the Ivern changes came out either, 2 patches ago? And, they made him very strong. I think he's pretty overtuned, honestly. People are just kind of scared to pick him or to play him because it's such a unique play style and such a unique way to play the game with, just compared to what you would normally do, just normally cleaning camps, playing through lanes, etc. And I think people are just kind of afraid of learning the new champ, or maybe they just don't think it's strong yet. But yeah, I mean, this champion is very broken. So I'm glad people are finally starting to notice. Maybe that sucks for me. Maybe it'll be banned more. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty fun to play. Pretty fun to play the Tree Man.
Obviously, last week, like you said, you played the Ivern. You got criticized a little bit on your build last week, the Night Harvester into the Cosmic Drive. Can you maybe kind of dig into your mind a little bit about why you maybe went that build last week? Obviously, this week you went kind of the full supportive, essentially enchanter build where you built the Staff of Flowing Water, you had the Moonstone, you had the Ardent, and you had the Redemption. Then you capped that all off with the Cosmic Drive once you got to that late game. What goes into for you for building Ivern, right? Was it just like last week, oh, I got to go damage. We need it. We need the big potential. This time around, you obviously had the Jace, you had the Kai'Sa, you had the Renekton, you had more of a ability to kind of beef up their damage. What was the difference, or why was the difference in itemization from last week to this week?
Yeah, I say the previous week I saw a one trick named Jamaican Banana. He's like a Halo.
Yeah.
One trick, and he was playing Night Harvester a lot, and I was playing it in solo queue as well, and it felt pretty strong. The item win rate on it is pretty insane as well. So, I kind of just felt it out and started playing. But I think last week it wasn't good as well with my comp. I mean, I think AP in competitive is just kind of not too viable unless you're gonna go maybe the PTA Rallies build. But even then, I feel like in this meta with the static and kind of hyper carries with like Azir and Jace and Kai'Sa and just any AD carry really, I think it's just better to be more supportive and kind of buff up your carries. So I think last week it was definitely kind of like a lack of research, I'd say, for my Ivern build. But I mean, no matter what I built that last game, the week prior, yeah. I think we would have still lost anyways. But I mean, I do think I blundered on that end. But coming into this week, definitely did a lot more research into the build and kind of experimented between Shirelles and Moonstone. I think the Moonstone Staff of Flowing Water combo is really strong, especially when you have carries. But yeah.
Do you think there's a big reluctance on a lot of the teams kind of trying out these new picks? Because like I mentioned, you had 6 unique champions, right? A lot of the other junglers, I think, other than maybe Blabber, I think right now are just kind of set standard picking some of the same stuff, right? The Sejuani, the Wukong, we see Vi, obviously Poppy when it's available. But do you think that that's your edge over some of these junglers? Like you're just willing to pick whatever the team needs or whatever you deem is seemed fit? Like, do you just think there's a reluctance on other junglers and other players to pick up these kinds of new champions that you clearly see are very busted?
Yeah, I feel like when you play kind of one style of league or one set of champions, you kind of get one-dimensional in a sense. And I'm a player over the past 11 years that I've played. I've mained every single role other than AD carry, and when I first started getting into the competitive scene, I was a challenger top laner. Then I switched to jungle, but I kind of played Phil a lot. So, and I play also a lot of ARAMs. So ARAM's very underrated. You get a lot of diversity and a lot of champion practice on certain things that normally wouldn't play. So I feel like I play every champion up to a pretty pretty decent level. Obviously, some better than others. Like I can't play Nivea or anything, but could think Nivea is not going to be better in the jungle. But yeah, I mean, I think that gives you an edge in draft for sure. Being able to play so many types of champs, and it just gives you like a distinct style that kind of keeps your opponents on edge for sure.
Safe to say you're probably the best Viego then, because you have all the other champions.
Exactly, I got
Massive.
all. There was a scrim one time where I was playing Viego and I got Gangplank and I hit a triple barrel and Doklo went crazy.
Yeah, there you go. I do actually want to talk about some of the newer additions to your roster now that you've had some time to gel. Obviously, you mentioned that you played with FBI and Ignar way back. I think not way back, but a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
Obviously, linking up with Ignar and reuniting with him, is it always just like a pleasure to kind of have him as a support, right? He's the engaged guy, right? He loves playing engaged champions. Obviously, he was killer on the Rel today. Is it just like always kind of like amazing to have that kind of player with you who can engage with you, who knows like when you're on the same wavelength, you guys are going in? Like, is Ignar just like a treat to have as a player on your guys' team?
100%. I think Ignar has a very good mind of for roaming and for playmaking,
Mhm.
which is something that I kind of see eye to eye with him as well. Like he sees angles that I normally would see as well. So it's kind of like we don't even need to communicate sometimes. Sometimes we just know like this is an angle, and I think having someone like that to like back me up and know that he's there when I'm going in, I mean, 100%, it gives me the confidence. So it's definitely been a pleasure working with both of them.
And obviously, NRG kind of had the slow start to this year. I mean, last year, your guys' season was insane, right? A game or two goes a different way. And we're talking about NRG making maybe semifinals or finals, right? Obviously, now, slow start this year. Can you kind of tell me maybe what has been some of the reason to that? Obviously, now you guys are winning games. You guys are looking like the NRG that was promised from spring. Like, what was the big change and what was one of the hardest things to kind of get used to as to maybe why you guys kind of had that slow start this season?
Yeah, with two new players coming in, our communication kind of gets jumbled up.
Mhm.
The same cues and synergies that we had before are now gone, and we have to rework on them. Um, but that's something that's been progressing really well recently. Um, Also, just I think our individual level as just a whole, like just individually as players, we weren't playing very well. So that on top of communication issues is gonna just look pretty bad. I mean, you saw our first games, like we got perfect game through a 10K gold lead. Um, lost two more after that as well. So um, definitely some growing pains, and we're still not there at all. Like being able or not being able to close out like a 6 to 7K gold lead is like pretty unacceptable. So um, just with things we still need to keep working on, but we're still proud that we're able to get these wins for sure.
Yeah, I would say that you guys feel, I would say, a little bit underrated at the moment. I think you and Palafox as a mid jungle duo are very, very good. Where do you guys, I mean, where do you guys rank yourselves as like a mid jungle duo amongst across the board, right? Because there are some really good ones. Obviously, the Blabber and Menace, obviously the Jojo Pew and Armeo. I feel like you guys have a very distinct style where I feel like both you and Palafox can get very, very aggressive at times. Whereas like maybe the Armeo Jojo Pune one is more of like Armeo kind of facilitating Jojo Pune. Obviously, Blabber and Menace, both hyper care or very strong carries in their own right. Where do you guys rank yourselves across the board?
I think we can be the best on any given day. I think nobody is obviously there's good players in this league, but
Uh-huh.
nobody's unbeatable on any given day. And I think when we're playing our best, uh, you know, we can beat anybody. I mean, we've shown that time and time again. And I think it's just about getting to that level of consistency to bring that out every single game. Obviously, you're gonna have bad games, but just really ironing down on like basic fundamentals and like way to play the game. And I think we need to show it consistently before we start considering ourselves, number one.
Final question here. NRG has a pretty extensive coaching staff, right? You guys have a lot of like obviously lane coaches or positional coaches. You've got strategic coaches, and obviously you're obviously regular head coach. Having such an extensive coaching staff, does that allow you guys to kind of shore up and fix mistakes you would think at a quicker pace? Because like obviously like you said last week, you guys were slow to start, but it seems to me that you guys have fixed a lot of problems. You guys are like playing, through laning. You guys are getting these really nice gold leads. Obviously, like you said, you still got to fix up kind of closing them out. But how has that really large coaching staff been in kind of helping you guys maybe fix your guys' mistakes, figure out a way to play? Have they been like super instrumental in that?
Man, I don't even remember all their names. What is he? One, two,
Yeah,
three,
you
four,
guys got
five,
a couple.
six,
You guys got a
seven,
couple.
seven coaches. I think we have seven. I mean, we have a positional coach for each one, and then we have two head coaches, or one head coach and another assistant coach. Yeah, seven coaches. That's crazy. I've never been on a team with more than like three.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like I said, I think you guys are pretty unorthodox in that aspect where it's like, you guys have a, like you said,
Yeah,
a
I
coach
mean,
for each role and
he
everything
would
like
always
that.
beam us when we load into scrims for like 1 second, guys, and we need all our coaches to get in. Maybe you see like 5, 6, 7 people join the lobby. It's kind of funny, but um, yeah, I mean, I think they're all very helpful in their own way. I don't work very closely with like the other positional coaches, but I
Of
work closely
course.
with mine. And we bounce back between a lot of things. Um, I mean, I think they all have a very good mind for the game, and they're all like ex-pro players, so they come with that kind of experience and that mentality that maybe normal coaches wouldn't have. So I think that's very helpful. Um, I think they focus on the right things for us, and they keep us progressing each week with the goal in mind. So no complaints. I mean, they're very helpful. It's the reason I've been working with them for 3 splits now. So
Yeah, perfect, perfect. Well, Contractz, any final message to the NRG fans or XCLG fans, or we want to say they are, in new NRG fans coming in and watching?
and I'm just very appreciative towards all the fans that support us, all the new fans, all the old fans. Um, we wouldn't be able to be doing this without you guys, and having you guys watch every week and just cheering us on. It's I'm very thankful. So
Perfect. Thank you so much, NRG
cool.
Contractz.
Cool. Appreciate it. Take care.